Well, I hope down the line you figure out that you're supposed to be with a guy, and maybe one day you find that guy that makes you just as happy as a woman. It was a lot. It was a lot.
What's your name? What are your gender pronouns? How old are you? And what's your sexuality?
It's Sasha, aka Selly. Pronouns is she, her. Sexuality, gay.
Gay meaning lesbian?
Yes.
Okay. What are you passionate about?
I'm passionate about the youth. I'm passionate about like self-love, self-care, really giving back to my community as well. I'm passionate about fashion. I'm passionate about music. Anything related to the arts. I'm passionate about entertainment, you know, anything that could help me think outside of myself, basically, especially when it comes to creativity.
Okay. Tell us a little about what it was like for you growing up. What was your relationship to your parents, siblings, and friends?
Oh, we going deep. Okay, so it's me, my grandma, my mother, my father, and my sister. We all lived together at one point. Well, we still majority do live together. I live with my mother, my father, and my grandmother, not with my sister anymore. But it was always us. As far as relationship goes, I guess I'll start down the line. My sister, me and her used to fight a lot as a kid, like very much, to a point where I just felt like I didn't really have a sister. I just felt like the only child in a sense. And it's like, as I grew older, I knew like a lot of things made sense about why we would get into so much arguments. But you know, that's part of the past, and that's that. But as far as now, I feel like me and my sister, we definitely have a bond, but it's not as strong as it could be. But everything is a work in progress, you feel me? Like, she still was my #1 supporter at the end of the day, because she understood me. We're like 5 years apart, so it's not big of a big age gap. So she was definitely by my side with that. My mother's always working, and I love that about her though. Like, that's my queen, that's my rock. She's so powerful. But my mother is very old-fashioned too, so like we definitely clash a lot. And one of my recent, like, I don't want to say goals, but like, yeah, I guess I could say a goal. One of my recent goals is like to get closer with my mother, because at the end of the day, she did bring me into this world, and I'm grateful for everything that she does for me and my sister, because she always puts us first. But she's a Capricorn, so that says a lot. Earth signs, okay? Like, but yeah, I love my mom. She's come a long way though. I feel like I've pushed her to think differently, I guess. My father, I was a daddy's little girl, to be honest, but that was when I was little. I wish it kind of maintained throughout my years of like development, but it didn't. But I still got mad love for my father though, because he's more lenient about things than my mother. My grandmother, it's weird right now, but I love my grandmother, because like I used to always be in the kitchen with her. I used to be hovering over her while she cooked. You know, she's a true Haitian woman. Like, always in the kitchen cooking, making sure like I'm eating. So that's like the #1 question she asks. Like, as long as I'm eating, she's happy. Like, it doesn't take much to make my grandmother happy, but like at the end of the day, going back to like me identifying and expressing myself, some of the things that I feel, you know, like as far as my element goes, she doesn't really like understand. So me and my grandmother, we cool, but we're not as close as I was younger. Because I guess back then it didn't all make sense, you know? So
When you say that, you mean your sexuality?
yeah. So I feel like it definitely changed our relationship for sure, because once she found out, it was just like, oh hell. So I mean, I still love my grandmother, but it's like, that's why I feel like now I'm in that critical growth stage where I have to put, like, I guess you want to say, my pride and my ego aside, because it's like she can't understand. She wasn't brought up to accept that, you know, like, so it's like I can't even be mad at her, but it's just like it gets annoying at times though, because it's like I know I can't be mad at her, but it's like, what are you talking about? But that's that. I love my family at the end of the day, but we definitely got our own unique relationships for each member.
So was your grandmother the only one who felt a certain way about your sexuality, or was it like your mother, your sister, and your father as well?
So like when I first, well, I didn't really tell my mother. My mother kind of found out, and so I was kind of forced to tell her. My coming out story wasn't all that peachy and cream, you know. It wasn't something I was looking forward to, honestly. I just wanted to be myself, whether she knew or not. So it's like me having to tell her was sort of like a drag. And so once I did tell her, she didn't want to believe it. Her and her mother, which is my grandmother, they both thought it was like a phase, and that I would get over it, or a mistake. Like, they didn't want to acknowledge it, and I still feel to this day my mother and my grandmother don't want to acknowledge it, but I don't talk too much about my sexuality around them. It's for them to.
How does that make you feel? Like you can't really be yourself around them?
Right. I feel like that's part of what's stopping my evolving process, but I know that like all takes time, and I know that like when I'm able to have my own space, I can be free, you know. And it's just like right now I'm just living to like their expectations or their likings, you know. I don't want to disappoint too much, because it's like at the end of the day I can't control what I like and who I like, so it's never gonna end. So it's just a form of, I guess, compromising in a sense. But I don't really talk about my feelings like that anyway, so I don't think it I don't really see it as a big deal that I can't really express my sexuality to them, but I would love to at one point in my life be able to talk freely about it.
Do you feel like their response to your sexuality is the reason why you can't really express your feelings?
I think so, yeah. I really do think so. That's probably one of the contributors to it. But as far as expressing, I don't.
Not too sure.
I'm not too sure, right? But my father is crazy, because I feel like, not that my life was jinxed, but it's like, you know how you have like your premonitions, and I kind of already had at a young age a premonition of my life in a sense. And so like, as far as how my father took it, you know, he's also Caribbean, he's Jamaican and Cuban, and so his response was, well, you know what the right thing is to do. That's all he said. So it's just like, I took it as, okay, you not wild. His words wasn't as harsh, you know, it didn't cut too deep. But it's just like, it's funny that he says it. Well, not really funny, but it's just like, growing up, being that I said my father was lenient, I was able to, you know, see certain things that, you know, I probably shouldn't have been seeing at that age, but he was just that freely about a lot of things. And so like, when we used to like watch movies together, and there used to be certain sex scenes, and it would be like saying like sex, and he'll just be like, oh, you know, it's nothing for you to cover your eyes about, just don't turn up to be like that, you know. Like, I was just, and that just stays stuck in my mind, because it's like, like I said, I had a premonition, and it's just like, okay. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
When did you first know you were a lesbian, and what did the coming out process look like for you?
I want to say like probably like early middle school, like 2nd grade, 3rd grade.
What happened in 2nd grade and 3rd grade?
I was just, honestly, I felt like as a kid I was really a tomboy. I was really a tomboy. I was, out in these streets. On the hillies, riding bikes on the monkey bars, blisters, all that. I used to hang out with boys, and I used to hang out with the girls too though. Like I'm a mingle person. Like when it comes to like the right setting, I can mingle with, pretty much anybody. But I just felt myself, looking at girls more than guys, and but guys was always attracted to me. That was the part. I was just like, y'all, little do y'all know, I don't want you. I don't want you. But yeah, that's kind of how I knew. And then I officially knew when it was like around 6th grade, because when I tell you, like, guys was really on me, and to this day they still are, which is so like annoying. But I was kind of forced into a relationship, like a hetero relationship, basically to prove or like try to change my sexuality in a sense. And that didn't last it didn't last.
Forced into it
because like I was peer pressured basically by my peers. I don't know why. I was peer pressured and I fell into it, and I just went out with this guy that always like wanted me from like, I want to say 3rd, because we in 5th grade now. And so I was like, okay, you know what, let me just go out with him. And so we went out, it was awkward as hell. And then I was like, after that day, I was like, yeah, no, we're not doing this. I can't do this. It only lasted a day, not even a day, a night, because I couldn't wait 24 hours. I'm like, sorry. Because he kept on blowing my phone up. Like, after us hanging out and we kissed, and he was just criticizing, exactly, over my lips. And I was just like, okay, yeah, no, we're not doing this. So I just, broke it off with him. And yeah, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not. And then it's like, it's crazy though, because people always ask me like, well, have you ever been with a guy? Did you ever try that? And I'm just like, yes, I did in middle school, and that was enough. You feel me? Like, I don't feel like I have to try again just because I had that experience along with other like personal experiences. But
so even till this day, people ask you that? Wow. Like,
how do you know you're gay? Like, oh, you're too pretty to be gay. And I'm just like, whatever that means.
and you mentioned earlier that you didn't have the opportunity to come out.
Yeah, no.
Do you mind sharing that story?
Yeah. It was this girl that I liked in middle school, and I begged my mother for her to like allow her to sleep over, and we slept over, yada yada yada. Well, she slept over, and my mother had a feeling though like something was off, and so like she kind of initiated it so that I could like tell her, because she knew, but she was just like, I want to hear from you basically. And so then that's when I told her, and that's how that went. But I didn't like openly tell her about it, but I had a feeling she was gonna find out in due time. So it's just like, in a sense, I was kind of relieved that she felt that way, and I just had to confirm it, as opposed to me actually coming to her and telling her. Because if I knew that like at one point I did have to tell her, but I just at the time wasn't ready to tell her, because I'm like, I'm still in middle school, and I know he's just gonna look at me with 5 heads. So she found out towards like when I was about to go to like high school, like freshman year.
How did she respond?
She was just like, oh, I don't like that. I don't accept it. But you're my daughter, yada yada yada. She was like, Well, I hope down the line you figure out that you're supposed to be with a guy, and maybe one day you find that guy that makes you just as happy as a woman. It was a lot. It was a lot.
How did you feel like when she said that to you?
Honestly, I felt really like I fell on edge, honestly. Cause you know, being in the closet and being openly gay is just like, both can be a blessing and a curse, you know? So it was like I wasn't okay with just not telling her, but I wasn't okay with telling her or having her find out, because I knew what was to come. So it was just like, which pit am I gonna choose to be in? So it was honestly devastating. I pat myself on the back though for getting through it, because it was very challenging, you know, just because I know that I come from a Caribbean religious family and my identity doesn't coincide with their like ideal narrative of what a woman should love or who they should love. So it was tough. It was hard, honestly. I made it through my years of school because of my friends. I think if it wasn't for the people that I met in school, and I want to say high school, even though high school was the worst, like education wise, worst. Like I was VP for my class. Like I really am for trying to help my community, and whether that's education, the streets, you know, gun violence, all of that. Like I want it to be inclusive. I want our community to be resourceful, and you know, I don't want our people to have to go an extra mile just to obtain the same thing as, you know, another kid in a different city. So in school I had like my group of friends, that my solid four friends, that we became a group, and we call SP, like stressful plans, because we were always, well, spontaneous plans, because we would always be outside. I told you I was always outside. Even up until high school I was outside. So we would just, you know, be out here, you know. We wouldn't do nothing too crazy though, because at the end of the day I knew who my mother was, and I knew I couldn't be too reckless, or else that was my ass. But I think that was my coping method, being outside, just being around people that didn't care who I was. So I didn't like going home, because I didn't feel like it was my safe haven, you know. So I felt like, you know, I was living two identities in a sense, because it's like I can't be who I am with my friends at home, and I don't want to be who I am at home with my friends, because that's not me, you know. So that was that.
Wow.
And
what do you think is the biggest misconception that most people have about lesbians?
okay, the biggest misconception. Well, I'm gonna start off by saying I feel like I'm not even a part of the LGBTQ. Yes. Yes. I'm sorry if I messed that up.
No, you're good.
But like, I really feel like, okay, because I know there's a lot of drama in that community, and I'm not a drama person, you know, so I feel like I don't really know the biggest misconceptions, because I'm not in too deep with that community. Not saying I don't want to be, but it's just like I only know a select few who self-identify in that community, so how would I really know? And I'm not, and I don't look for love. Not that saying love has to tie into this, but I feel like a lot of relationships in that community is like, I guess the big misconception would be like it's overly sexual, or like relationship back to back, like, or I know I know when I was in a relationship, they would always be like, who the man in the relationship? Like, I hate that question. That question irks my nerves, because it's just like, well, you're gonna have to ask somebody else, because it's 2 women here, so it's no man. So yeah, I don't know other than that.
You said it's a lot of drama. What do you mean by that? Like, what type of drama?
I guess I'm just going off of, like, being that I do know a select few people that, you know, identify as gay or bisexual. They just, every time we talk relationship, like love, it's just like, it's so much going on, and I'm just like, why are you dealing with this? Like, just because, like, my gay best friend, he's a dude, he be telling me all about it, and mind you, like, especially on Twitter, I feel like it's emphasized, like, there's definitely different communities, and there's definitely certain hypes that, you know, are in certain communities, and I'm just like, I'm not in that hype, so am I doing something wrong? You know, like, I guess I haven't been in a setting where it was just strictly LGBTQIA. So I can't really, like, dictate what's the, you know, biggest misconception, because, like I said, every time I talk to my friends that's in that community, love is always, like, love and relationship is always involved. So I'm just like, what is it with us, I guess, like, worried about the next person and who they mess with and stuff like that? It just be like, it's just too much. And I feel like it shouldn't be too much.
Have you ever felt that you were the victim of homophobia or felt threatened by those around you because of your sexual orientation? If yes, can you provide an example?
Threatened? No, not, probably not yet. Well, I don't want to say, like, no, I'm not speaking it into existence. No, none of that. I'm not speaking it into the world, but no, thankfully no.
Okay.
Because, like I said, people always automatically assume I'm straight, so it's just like, I don't be getting, other than sexually, well, verbally harassed. That's one thing I experienced, but it's not from, like, the same sex.
When you say verbally harassed, is that like when you tell guys, oh, I'm not into you, I'm into women, then they come at you a certain way?
Yeah.
Wow. What was, like, the worst experiences that you've encountered with men because of that?
Girl, well, I know this one time working at Foot Locker downtown Newark at that, and every day, I kid you not, it's like men just act like they never seen a pretty girl before, like, and there was this one time though where I really felt violated and disgusted, because this guy, he came in and I don't want to judge a book by its cover, you know, but it just looked like he was off something, but not too deep where he couldn't, like, recognize what he was saying or, you know, doing. But he just came in the store real reckless, and he came up beside me. Mind you, he looking at me up and down, like, very, very hard, not even discreet about it. I was just like, I'm moving back, because I'm just like, okay, you're, you know, in my personal space. And so, like, I forgot how the conversation came about. Like, he was trying to hit on me, whatever. I'm like, we could be friends, but as far as anything else goes, no. Because, like, you know, I try not to be disrespectful. Even when a guy is disrespecting me, I try to still maintain my, you know, my attitude and not even come off crazy. Just, you know, give them the benefit of the doubt. And so he wasn't having that, and he was just, his words was just real sexual. Like, why don't you after work come holla at me and you could sit on this, da 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 da. Like, it was just.
And you told him you were a lesbian?
Yes.
Wow.
And he was just like, I'll show you a good time. all you need is 2 minutes, like da da da. And I was just like, yo, honestly, please stop. Like, I really had to like go in the back. I told my manager like he needs to go because he really made me feel uncomfortable. Like, you took it too far. Like, I don't want to say all details because I don't even recall. I don't want to recall that, but I just know that it was just not okay. And I'm just like, why are dudes like this? Why do they feel like it's okay to say the things that they do? Like, I don't understand. But I try not to like dwell on past traumatic experiences because just thank God it's over.
What do you think the effects of race on your sexuality are, if there are any?
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of effects. I haven't encountered any, but I know that since I'm black and I'm a woman and I'm gay, it's 3 strikes right there. So I know that could put me at a disadvantage compared to other people, but I haven't felt like it's been done to me before. So
Have any friendships, family relationships, and or job opportunities been ruined because of your sexual orientation? If yes, can you share an experience or two with us?
Other than like the, relationships with my family members, friends and jobs, not so much, but family, I feel like it definitely put me in a different position with them, so that is an ongoing work in progress because it still needs to be work done. But I know, big change or dramatic change doesn't happen overnight, so it's just all about being patient with them. That's about it.
What is your opinion on using labels to identify ourselves, such as lesbian, bisexual, gay, transsexual? Are you for or against them?
Okay, so I recall you asking in the beginning when I said I'm gay. You was like, lesbian, right? I was like, yeah. I don't really identify as lesbian. I just mainly say I'm gay because at the end of the day, gay is another definition for gay, which is happy, and I'm gay as fuck with that. So both gays got me. So when it comes to all these other labels, I don't like it. I don't. But if it makes people feel closer to one another, then okay. But I honestly feel like it's just more subgroups on subgroups on subgroups. Why should there be, like, it's, yes, everybody has their preference on how they want to be addressed, and I understand that, but to make it as a one thing, it doesn't like kind of sit right with me, because same way how our color comes in different shades, our gay come in different shades, and we don't have to put a label to it all the time and then group certain people in that division, because it's just like, okay, now y'all just, I don't know, like labels, the word label itself, you're literally labeling yourself to be placed in a specific category. Like, labels belong on food, items that you're gonna purchase, like, I don't like the whole labels for us, I guess, because it's just like, why not just be us, even though, not saying that labels interfere with that, but I feel like it does play a part with how people, I guess, act. And I try to understand, because people just, I guess, view things that they don't know differently when they don't understand it. So it's just like, I'm just trying to understand at this point, but I'm not, bashing or shaming it, because it's already here, It's just, like I said, a matter of understanding. But I personally just say I'm gay, and if you know what that means, you know what that means. I don't feel like I have to elaborate.
Are you religious?
I'm spiritual. I feel like, yes, spirituality and religion can clash in a sense, but I feel like religion and, the black churches back then was helpful for perseverance and just coming together. But what worked then, I feel like, is not really working now. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm not saying that, like, oh, we shouldn't have any churches at all, but I just feel like religion is kind of like, it's definitely modified throughout the years. So it's just like, why? Yeah, I'm not gonna get too deep, but I just know that, like, spiritually, I'm trying to be at my highest, I know I'm not at my highest, but I guess you could say my spiritual practices can be mistaken for religious practices by just, whether it's considered praying or not. Because I don't consider, well, I don't know if praying would tie into spirituality. Because you could pray, but it doesn't necessarily have to be to God, or Allah. It could be to whoever you believe is higher than you. So that's why I said, like, spirituality and religion can go hand in hand, but I don't just, like, strictly follow one. I don't want to say handbook, but there's there's good scriptures in the Bible, that you can relate to. But as far as, like, knowing it from front to back, but it's there, and I know it's there, so I don't, like, dismiss it. But I wouldn't say I'm religious, but my family is religious.
Okay.
So I know what that could be like, because I don't know if I said, but I did attend an all-girls school, all-girls Catholic school. And I'm like, yeah, Ma, you fucked up with this one. But
why do you say that?
Because it's just like, because when I said in second grade, I knew. And it's like,
your sexuality.
Yeah, second grade I knew, and second grade I was, just so happened to be in an all-girls Catholic school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You say your family is really religious, so does that interfere with your sexuality, or, like, how you act around them? Like, do they go to church regularly and stuff like that?
Okay, so I used to go to church, yes, but that was when I was younger, like, closer to my, like, grandmother. Like, she would be, waking me up to go to church, faithfully every Sunday. But I think, like I said, as I grew older, I kind of forced them into seeing things differently. So I had to show my mother that I was no longer really interested in attending church every day, even though, yes, she tries to go to church every Sunday, but it's not as repetitive as it was before. But she definitely, when she has time, either my grandmother or my mother, they do go to church. But I forgot at one point, I woke up and I just told my mom, like, I'm not going to church. I'm just not, like. And it's like, before leading up to that process, she knew how I felt about it, because I would always be like, well, I don't want to go to church, yada yada yada. Like, I feel like I don't have to go to church if, I can pray from home. Like, what difference is it gonna make? She's like, it's the, being around the people and the music. And it's like, yes, I know what, church service can withhold, but it's just not a setting I feel comfortable in.
How can heterosexuals be a good ally to queer folk?
Just by supporting, whether it doesn't even have to be physical support, it could be emotional support, verbal support, anything supportive. I feel like can help our community, because there's always there before where we are now. Like, obviously our people definitely a lot of people definitely have words for our community, and it's not always nice. And so I think this generation though, and our generation is pushing people out of their comfort zone to be able to deal with it, because there's no changing it. Like, you can't stress something you can't control. So I think a lot of, you know, heterosexuals are coming to their senses. Like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be so fazed by it. This is like, you're only making yourself mad. You're only doing yourself a disservice, because that energy is only affecting you and not the person that's living. So I think just, you know, for them to continue to be uncomfortable and just try to find ways to support, whether it's minimal or grande. Support.
What message would you give to someone struggling to accept their sexuality?
Message I'll give them is struggles come with success. I won't tell them that it's easy. To get to like where they want to be, but it's possible. I would just say to just every day do something extra that makes you feel happy, whether the next person care or not, because you have to preserve your peace and your happiness. And sometimes you do gotta be selfless. You don't even have to be selfish. You can just be selfless. Just be you. Like, literally, even though I went through a struggle, I still felt okay, because I knew not everybody is hostile. So, like I said, everything's a work in progress, and you know, struggles do lead to success once you've reached that breaking point of just 100% not giving a fuck. So it's like, you just gotta push yourself to be you, even though it may be challenging, but you know, nothing in life is easy. So it's all about really pushing yourself to be your truest self, your most beautiful self, purest self, like just flat out you. Flat out you.
I love that response.
Thank you.
Do you have any final words for those watching?
I'm sorry for all my stutters, cause
Don't apologize.
speech really not my thing. That's another.
But you have the courage to come in front of the camera and share your story.
Yeah. I would say basically pitching, well, not pitching, piggybacking off of what I just said. Don't run away from yourself. Like, I at first was hesitant to do this interview, but I ended up doing it because, you know, I wanted to do something productive, and I wanted to do something that I probably just had to hear myself say. So, and whether it was in a different setting, because I try to, you know, talk good to myself in front of a mirror, you know. So if I could do that in a mirror, then I push myself to do it in front of camera for everybody else to see. So I just hope that everybody else at one point comes to that point in life where they just freely express and not care. Freely express and not care, okay?
Do you have any social media platforms, any businesses?
Yes. I'm okay. Like I said, everything a work in progress. So my business page is a work in progress. It's a lot that I feel like I deal with that, you know, kind of puts my business at a slow speed, because I do want to get, you know, steady with it. But, you know, circumstances and other things kind of aren't always aligned. So yes, I do have a business page. It's called Majestic Blend SL. I'm selling nose cuffs right now because I do like wire wrapping. I want to, you know, get more into it, and I want to, you know, put out my new designs. It's just me being in my head, honestly, because it's like I have my ideas, but I don't put it into play because I have so much other things to, you know, worry about. But it's just like you gotta start somewhere, and you can't like always push what you want to do aside. So I'm at that point where it's just like I just have to do. So I definitely have a business page that is gonna be on the up and rising. It may not be now, but it's coming. And my personal page is s.aashh. And yeah, that's all I have to say, y'all.
Thank you. That's it.
Thank you.